Hello there. What's going on, everyone? Today, I want to talk about leaks and episode 9 merchandising and all the stuff that is kind of floating around out there. So, spoiler warning, if you don't want to hear about any potential leaks of new ships and things like that, this is your chance to drop off. All right, guys, so there has been a lot of stuff. I want to preface this with saying I'm not going to show any screenshots or images of this stuff because it's not officially released yet, and I have gotten strikes on my channel before especially from Lego, by posting stuff that even though it's out there all over the place, if they don't want you out there, they're gonna really hammer people hard. So first thing I want to talk about, since I brought up Lego, is let's talk about Lego. There's been a couple of Lego sets that have been announced or revealed. Surprisingly, none of them are lightsaber nunchucks, so we're still kind of waiting on that. But yeah, Lego sets have been spoiled a lot in the past. I have gotten in trouble for showing images of leaked Lego sets, so I'm just going to talk about things. We don't know if they're actually fake leaks or if they're real leaks or not. But one of the things is there's supposedly a TIE bomber, a first order bomber set that's in the works. Now this is a lot of these leaks are stuff that ships we've already seen. Like there's another Millennium Falcon supposedly out there and things like that. And I'm not really as so first off, that's very believable, so that's not really much of a leak, which kind of means maybe it is believable. But a lot of these are like the Y-Wing for the Resistance. There's a lot of this stuff that we've already seen before, so that doesn't really strike me as being like something that would be kept under wraps, other than maybe that we will see more Y-Wings in episode 9, which makes sense. They've already built the model. Why not use them if you're going to have a big space battle? And the thing is, most of these leaks are in the form of ships. So that's actually kind of leading towards episode 9 really having a big space battle. So that's a really big thing. But this First Order bomber doesn't seem that far-fetched because we've already seen like at least the blueprints for a First Order bomber in episode 8, as well as a First Order interceptor. And that's one thing I hadn't seen in any of these leaks, is a First Order interceptor. And that's already been spoiled through Star Wars Resistance. So maybe the Interceptor is something that they're going to keep exclusively for Star Wars Resistance, or maybe it's just simply something that Lego hasn't gotten around to, or just wasn't particularly included in this particular set of leaks. But we also had a First Order dropship. It was unclear whether or not this is the same dropship we saw in Episode 7, because they've already released multiple versions of this dropship in different merchandising areas. So good chance maybe it's a slightly redesigned dropship, or it's the TIE Echelon. I'll talk about that more in a little bit. Also the AT Scout Walker, which I believe is the same Scout Walker or Chicken Walker that we saw in episode 8. Not a whole lot of new stuff there, but it is cool to see that that there's a lot of vehicles planned, and these aren't just like figure sets or adventure sets. Big thing for the Resistance, though, in all of the leaks that I've seen so far, there's rumors of a Rebel, or rather Resistance Y-Wing. Now that's pretty cool. Very cool to see Y-Wings show up. Surprised that I haven't seen mentions of a B-Wing yet. But again, that could still simply be that there's going to be multiple waves. I mean, episode 9 is going to be a big deal. There will be multiple waves of things coming out, I'm sure. Not everything in the movie is going to be spoiled this early. So just the fact that there's no rumors of a B-Wing showing up yet doesn't mean that there are no B-Wings. It just simply means, well, they haven't tried to spoil that yet. And it might be that the B-Wing just doesn't come back in episode 9. It could be that maybe the Resistance bomber was as close as that we were going to get to the B-Wing. I certainly hope that's not the case, because that thing was kind of a dud. But the Y-Wing, coming back will be cool. And the real question is it going to be a newly redesigned Y-Wing, or is it going to be the same leftover, Clone War era, broken down and repatched and broken and repatched again Y-Wings that we've seen? I have a feeling it won't be a patchwork Y-Wing. I have a feeling it will be a brand new Y-Wing. Although it would be really, really cool if we do see them use some old patchwork Y-Wings that are leftovers from the Clone Wars and from the Galactic Civil War. Maybe even some of both. Some that still have some armor plating on there in the Clone War style, and some that are clearly leftovers from the Galactic Civil War as well. It would be really cool to see, the whole entire, timeline of Y-Wings on screen at one point. So I think that would be pretty cool, like a whole trio, like oldest, old, and new. That would be nice. And it'd be kind of cool if even by sequel trilogy standards, if this Y-Wing is still old, But maybe then again, we'll see a brand new Y-Wing. Maybe the tables will have turned and this Y-Wing will be the latest and greatest that we see. Also might be possible that we see some T-85s, but there haven't been any rumors of that yet. So really big surprise that there's no, hints of a B-Wing. But we do see more spoilers that there's supposedly an A-Wing coming, another Millennium Falcon. Probably be the same Falcon, just with, maybe a different crew member or something. Maybe the antenna gets knocked off again. Maybe something else happens to it that they can just say, hey, well, you know what, another new Falcon. This way it has, this one has a Porg on the dashboard. Who knows? Another set that is leaked, though, is a really interesting one, and that's called the Assault on Jakku. And that could be potentially a spoiler. Now, Assault on Jakku sounds like a play set, probably some stuff in the background, some minifigures or whatever. That one is telling, and it's actually kind of believable. And although, to be fair, if somebody wanted to put together a good fake, they could have easily extrapolated that, because from when they finished filming episode 9, there was definitely this this desert-looking scenery in the background when they posted this photograph of Finn, Rey, and Poe all hugging. And of course, it was not a shot from the movie. This is them just hugging after they're done shooting, just like a set photo. But you can still see that there's definitely a sunny, deserty place that they're shooting. And you could have easily kind of guessed that, hey, they're either on Tatooine or Jakku. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense for them to go back to Tatooine because, well, there's really not much going on in Tatooine in the sequel trilogy, but Jakku certainly could have a lot to do with things. Could have a lot to do with Rey's history. They may go and explore that a little bit. May have a lot to do with the Aftermath series of books. There was an observatory there. Luke Skywalker got one of these compasses that was found in this observatory. So if you haven't read the Aftermath series, there's some significance to Jakku. There could be some planets, some ships that are crashed on the planet's surface that they have to get something out of. Well, maybe we'll finally see a Starhawk, because the Starhawks had taken place in the Battle of Jakku. There's a lot of potential things that we could see there. That's a pretty big deal. And then the other thing is the TIE Echelon. So let's talk about the TIE Echelon. Is not actually in the Lego spoilers. The TIE Echelon is a new ship that was revealed at Galaxy's Edge at the parks, at the Disney parks. So, and apparently these have been taken down just as fast as people are putting them up. So, again, I'm not putting a picture of it up, but basically it looks like a cross between like a Darth Vader's TIE Advanced X1 and the Upsilon shuttle. It has the body of the shuttle, and it has a landing bay that drops down just like an Upsilon shuttle, just like Kylo Ren's shuttle from episode 7 that you've seen, and episode 8. But instead of the giant wings, it has like TIE Advanced or Interceptor, kind of the folded wings, more like a TIE Advanced, because they don't come to that, they don't see it appear like they come all the way to that sharp point. So, but there are some big heavy cannons on the front. It's definitely going to be some type of transport because it's much bigger than a TIE fighter. But it looks like it's, but similar to how Kylo Ren's TIE Silencer was much bigger than a normal TIE fighter. I think it's going to be in that ballpark, but even bigger than that. That's certainly how it looks. I mean, if it's got the body of the TIE Upsilon, I'm sorry, not the TIE Upsilon, but the Upsilon shuttle, then it certainly looks to be a troop transport, but that's meant to be a little bit more maneuverable, kind of like a hybrid transport / fighter. That's kind of how it looks. Looks like it would fit really well into a lot of games, but also looks like it's probably something that we'll see in episode 9. Through the photos, if you Google TIE Echelon, you'll probably see it. But it looks like something that they've definitely flushed out and put a lot of work behind. And I can't imagine they would have built this for Galaxy's Edge if it wasn't going to be in episode 9. But that doesn't mean specifically that it will be in episode 9. There's always that chance that it could be something exclusive for the parks that you actually wouldn't see in the movies. But I think it would have a much bigger draw if it was something from the movie that you will be able to see at the park, because that's going to be like, oh, I want to go get my picture taken with that ship from episode 9. So it's probably going to be a ship that's actually important in episode 9, or maybe that does some really cool stuff, some fancy maneuvers, things like that. It's kind of my guess. There's also a Lego leak called Kylo Ren's ship, and then that could be just about anything because it says Kylo Ren's ship. And that's a pretty clever way to market stuff if you wanted to, even to limit leaks, because that kind of tells me that it's not Kylo Ren's TIE fighter. Kylo Ren's ship could be anything. It may be the TIE Echelon. or it may be talking about a capital ship, because I do expect we're going to see a lot of capital ships in episode 9. I think we're going to see a huge space battle, and that means a lot of fighters and a lot of big ships in the background. And we're starting to get hints of that in Star Wars Resistance. I don't know if you've caught the latest Star Wars Resistance, but it's certainly paving the way towards episode 9. You're getting to see like what's going on elsewhere in the galaxy and why no allies were able to come to the Resistance's aid in episode 8. I'm not going to cover that episode very much because I think Star Wars Explained did a really good review. So if you haven't already checked out Star Wars Explained's review of the last episode of Star Wars Resistance, definitely go check that out. But it does kind of set up a whole lot of speculation for other things that are going on with the First Order, and maybe we'll see Kaz and some of these other, like Tam and some of these other characters in episode 9. And if we do, that would be pretty cool, but I don't think they should have too much focus on them. I think it should be like in the background that they were there. It would be kind of cool, and that would be consistent with Star Wars's entire strategy of telling stories in mishmashed order. Right? We're going to start with chapter 4, and then we're going to jump to chapter 12, then we're going to tell you chapters 6, 7, and 8, then we're going to tell you chapter 1, then jumping to chapter 16. You know, like that's just the way Star Wars tells all of their stories. It's completely out of order. It drives me crazy. And yet I still keep coming back for more. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you today. But yeah, sorry I didn't show any images, though. I don't want to get my channel taken down because apparently you can get in some pretty big trouble. I have gotten in trouble in the past for doing that. But it's more about, because we don't even know if all of these leaks are legit yet, or if they're just, clever fakes. It's a very appealing market for people to want to come up with fakes too. So I wouldn't put too much stock in it. I'm sure we will get some new things. I'm sure we probably will get, the YWing back. I'm sure we'll get T-75s. I think we may even see T-85s. YWing seems reasonable. B-Wing is hopeful. The TIE Echelon seems like the biggest thing that's almost certain that we're going to get, since we actually have seen them build one of those in the Galaxy's Edge. So, all right, guys, that's all I got for you. I want to thank you so much for watching. And as always, have a great day.